been here before, but an awesome speaker. I would hope so, since he runs the Speakers Academy and been doing so for what, 15, 20, 30 years, 50 years? How much is it?
6 years.
6 years. Okay, 6 years officially. But George has actually sent some of the speakers here and that are his mentees. In fact, I just saw Rob Rash on Wednesday at Success North Dallas, and he said to say hi. Said thought he might make it over, but anyway, he did a great job when he shared with us or did a session for us early week. But I'm very much looking forward to George and having him share with us how to elevate our game in the area of communicating our information. So George.
Thank you. How many were here the last time I was here, or have seen me in the last 3 to 4 months? 1, okay, 2, that's a maybe, and 3, 4, okay. So the reason why I asked that very simply is because I recognized I did not want to come and do a complete redo of what I did last time. You know, a guy like Randy, he's been there, heard that, a number, Lloyd. So I wanted to make sure that this time was a little bit different. Is that okay with those of you that have heard me before, as well as those that haven't? Say, Good deal. So bottom line, I believe it'll still be valuable for everybody for what I'm going to offer you today, and won't be an exact repeat of some of the same stuff I did before. Now, how many of you are here because you're wanting to develop, grow, expand your business? Raise your hands high and heavy. Good. That's pretty much across the board. And guess what? My hand's up too. I'm here for the exact same reason. I want to grow my business. I am not maxed out by any means, so I want to continue to expand what I'm doing, where I'm doing it, and who I'm doing it with. And if that's good for you, I'm going to make this, quite frankly, what I call a sales presentation. Can I be more transparent than that? So I want to make sure that you recognize I'm here to do a combination of the 4 things that I talk about all the time. Inform, influence, inspire, and maybe even entertain. And in doing that, I trust that I'll pique a little bit of the interest in the group along the way. Now, I did some pre-presentation research. That little half blue sheet that you filled out, that was very informative to me, and I'd like to just very quickly share some of the results I got from that. Out of this august group here, what I recognized was that the majority, a large majority, said that you look at presentation skills and confidence as being important or very important. Does that seem to align with the majority of you here? That, yeah, you see that as being important or very important. Now, the urgency wasn't quite as high, but a large majority said you felt it was urgent or had some urgency in that picture as well. And you were all over the board in light of how well you rated yourself, how much experience you've had in training in this arena. So what I want to do is work from that. Whenever you're on a sales presentation, by the way, how many of you are in sales? Good, you recognize that. So everybody's in sales. When you're on a sales presentation, you're constantly, I'm sure, asking questions and trying to understand the exact needs of the person or people that you're in front of. So I'm going to be doing the exact same thing because I've been very transparent in telling you this is a sales presentation. This is about helping you understand that maybe, possibly, perhaps, I have something, and we at the Speakers Academy have something that could be of benefit to you. And if that in some way helps you, then that's a good thing. Would you agree? Right. Good deal. Now, I'm going to also ask for your business cards. But honestly, I don't want everybody's business card because here's the bottom line. I recognize very simply, very sincerely that you may or may not need or feel like you want what I have to offer. And those who do give me their business card, they will be in the running for 2 really fabulous prizes that will be offered at the close of this presentation. So if I have your business card, then I get the opportunity, or actually Dave will be the one who draws from the cards I have present to offer you 2 prizes. And here are the 2 prizes. Prize number 1, the lesser of the 2 in the light of value, monetary value, is 3 months of free attendance at our multiple locations of the Speakers Academy. That's well worth over $100 in monetary value. So 3 months of free sessions. That could potentially, again, give you a broadening network, but also, again, build your skills and your confidence in doing any presentation. Terry, whether it's a one-on-one or a one-on-5 or a one-on-15. And that's what we're all about, recognizing that all of us do presentations almost every single day of our life. And if we see a presentation being bigger than a larger group and more formal like what we are doing right here, that if you're only doing a sales presentation for one, is that still a sales presentation? It absolutely is. So back to the card thing. If you have a desire for one of those two prizes, though, by the way, the second prize is you attend my full day workshop on August the 15th, where we cover a vast variety of stuff, including a little bit of what we're covering today. But beyond that, here's the biggie. You get 6 months of attendance of the Speakers Academy beyond the full day workshop in August. So I look at that as, quite frankly, being a monstrous amount of value. I valued it at over $800, and you would have that opportunity for free. So if you want that opportunity, pass your business cards this direction, please. They'll collect at this end of the table. I'll take them up from this table over here, or Virginia and Jenna and Dave, if you want a business card over here, I'll take them and put them in the pile as well. Lloyd is my card collector over here. My younger brother is a Presbyterian minister and has been for about 35 years. He went to seminary in Mississippi. And while in seminary, a lot of the small local community churches that didn't have a full-time pastor would offer the seminary students the opportunity to come and preach a sermon. And one time, he tells me the story about how he got invited to go to this little country church way out in the boondocks and deliver a sermon for whoever happened to show up. So my brother, being the eager beaver that he was, and still is, he prepared this sermon, and man, he worked on this thing hard. He had his A's and his B's and his C's all put together. He knew his scriptures. He was excited to beat the band. Well, he got there early, set up at the pulpit, and waited. And waited. And just before church was about to start, in walks the one parishioner. He's an old farm hand, and he walks in and comes up to the second pew and sits himself down. Well, my brother, being undaunted that he was, he just decided, okay, it doesn't matter that I've only got one person in the pews. I'm going to let this guy get all of what I prepared. And so he went to preaching. And I mean, he went to preaching like he had never preached in his young life at that point in time. And after about an hour or an hour and 15 minutes, he finally recognized he had finished his sermon. He closed with prayer, and he headed back to the door to greet the older gentleman as he was leaving the church. Well, the older gentleman made his way back and shook hands with my younger brother and smiled at him and said, "Good job, Pastor." My younger brother said, "Well, give me just a little bit of feedback. I want to know, what'd you think? How was it?" He says, "Well, I've been farming for about 45 years. He says, right now I got 15 head of cattle on my small spread. And in the evenings when I go out with my pickup truck, I got a load of hay in the back for all 15 cows. But preacher, I have to say, if only one cow shows up, I don't give him the full load." So my brother sharing that with me helped me recognize that in too often times we want to overload people with what we feel is important to them and not recognize what they're really hungry for. And you got a chance today to order off the menu exactly what you wanted. I'm going to try to do the same thing for you right now. All of you have a handout, more than one actually. One is just the simple fold is a publication for spreading the gospel about the Speakers Academy, and it's got testimonials and it gets an idea of what we do. But the multi-page one that's got like 9 pages in it, the heavier duty one, there's a lot of material in there. And actually what that is, it's an exact copy of what I use when I speak to the Dallas Business Journal Lunch and Learns that I've done now 3 times, got a 4th one coming up in I think early September. So that's a 90-minute presentation. So that's a lot of material. I can't cover that amount of material. I don't even want to consider covering that amount of material. I'm not going to give you the full load because we don't have that time. But I want you to look through what I've given you there and give me an idea with a quick vote what looks appetizing, important, exciting to you so that I can make sure that in the time we have together, I can try to cover for the majority what will really be helpful, appreciated, important to you. I'm going to shut up for a minute and just allow you to peruse what you got in your hands, and then I'll come back and take a quick vote. Hello out there in Facebook land. I see you. You can't see me. Oh no, it's the opposite way.
You have more hand up.
Four proven methods to inspire and influence your listeners.
Okay, that's good.
Vocal delivery.
Vocal delivery.
Four methods. Same as before, 4 methods.
Good deal.
Visual
Visual delivery. Good deal.
A second visual delivery.
Thank you. Good deal.
And George, what did you say it was inform?
I give you the 4, what we call the 4 N's. The 4 N's are inform, influence, inspire, and entertain. Inform, influence, inspire, and entertain. All presentations we make can pretty much fall under one of those 4 basic delivery styles or delivery contents. All right, let's look at it together, shall we? There are, around page 3, page 4, 3 phases or parts of every presentation. We talk about the preparation, delivery, follow-through. That's kind of self-explanatory. Then we get into 7 proven ways to boost your self-confidence and connect with others. How many of you really would like to go over those 7 proven ways to boost your self-confidence and connect with others? If you do, raise your hand. Okay, that's not even half of the group. So that's kind of a low vote right there. So we'll kind of move on. Then we get into what we call the 3 V's. The 3 V's comprise the visual, the vocal, and the verbal. That's what I call the real meat and potatoes. That's the real important stuff, the big stuff, the necessary stuff to do well with a stand-up delivery. How many of you would like to cover the 3 V's? The visual, the vocal, and the verbal. Raise your hand so I can see again. I think we had a good number of people requesting that, so that looks like a little over half the group. All right, so we'll definitely get into that. Then right after that, we start talking about 4 proven methods to inspire and influence your listeners. How many of you want that? Okay, we've got definitely half, or maybe even slightly over the half. All right, I got my work cut out for me, so let's begin with, if we've got time to cover some of the other stuff, I'll definitely do that, but I want to make sure I cover what you wanted off the menu. Let's begin on the visual delivery. The 3 V's, visual, vocal, and verbal, equals the 11 core skills. The 3 V's, the visual, vocal, and verbal, delivering the 11 core skills. And we talk about, just to give you a running jump into that, we talk about the whole presentation has 3 parts. And I mentioned it just briefly, the PDF, the preparation, delivery, and follow-up. Most people, and great coaches and teachers of presentation styles, they talk a lot about the preparation. They talk a lot about the delivery. Next to no one really talks about the follow-through. Folks, if you're in sales, what's the most important part of your sales process?
Follow-up.
Closing and or follow-through. Follow-through, follow-through, follow-up. That's it. And I say all the time, speaking is more like selling than it is about speaking. And if you understand that concept and you embrace that concept, it will dramatically change how you think about any time you're getting in front of one person, 5 people, 15 or 500. I've got a lady that I'm coaching right now. She's a realtor up in Plano. And she and I were on the Zoom video chat just yesterday. And I said to her, because she's got a presentation coming up in less than 2 weeks, I said, what have you done in light of preparing for after your delivery? She said, well, I'm not sure if I even understand that. I said, Gigi, you're a mom. She said, yeah, I've had 3 kids. I said, so bottom line, if you're a mom and you've had 3 kids, you know the delivery is just getting them into the world, but what do you do after you get them home? You've got follow through for years and years and years. Parents, can you agree? Nod your head and say, uh-huh. There you go. Bottom line, it's all about the follow through, the follow up, in light of delivering a child and raising that child. And the same thing holds true when it comes to a great delivery, a great presentation. So 3 parts: preparation, delivery, follow through. Now we're focused primarily on the delivery aspect. And when it comes to delivery, there are 3 core, C-O-R-E, core skills: visual, vocal, and verbal. Those of you that were with me or have been with me in the past, don't cheat. Those of you who have never heard this presentation, which of the 3 do you think is most important?
Visual.
Visual?
Visual.
Visual? Vocal?
Verbal.
Verbal? Verbal? Well, those of you that said visual, rock and roll, good job. Because the visual is the most important. And I'm going to get into exactly why as we cover the 5 aspects of the visual. The vocal is important, the verbal is important, but the most important aspect of a great delivery is the visual. If I got up here today and, as an example, was dressed in my typical summer wear, shorts, sandals, a t-shirt, how would that present me from a visual perspective in light of my credibility, professionalism, and your believability for me being able to help you in presentation skills? Would that do the job or not?
No.
No, it wouldn't. So right off the bat, I hadn't even opened my mouth, and my visual presentation would not synchronize with your expectations. Thus, you would very quickly go, check, I'm out of here, mentally, physically, or both. So we start right there. Because, Virginia, from 50 yards away, I can see you and begin to, and I do, consciously or subconsciously, judge you in light of what I expect from you as a professional. And guess what, folks? Lloyd, you do it. You do it. We all do it, don't we? Nod your head and say, uh-huh. We all do it, consciously or subconsciously. We judge people, their level of professionalism, their level of credibility, whether or not we will know them, like them, or trust them. And it starts with the visual. First thing in the visual is attire and grooming. Okay. Attire and grooming, attire and grooming, attire and grooming. That is what you put on your body and what you do with your hair and all of the other fineries that you have. And for the women, that's a little bit more typically than the men. But attire and grooming is the bottom line. That is the first thing that people look at and can see from a distance. And if that is not, and again, their realm of expectations, right away, consciously or subconsciously, they start checking out. So we have to think in terms of how can I make sure that I'm at or slightly above the level of my audience. And that's what I tell everybody when they're dressing to go to speak. I'll ask you, did I hit the mark today in being at or slightly above the level of my audience in my dress? I almost wore my jeans, being that it's Jeans Friday, but I didn't. Put on a pair of slacks. So bottom line, I'm thinking, how can I make sure that I can eliminate any barrier, Terry, so that I can feel that they will warm up to me much more quickly? At or slightly above in my dress, my attire, and in my grooming. Again, thinking in terms from at a distance, but you're walking closer to this person, what's the next thing you tend to notice?
Yeah, the slouched.
Or
Lean.
Body language.
body language as in how they posture and position themselves. The PMP, the PMP, the PMP. How they posture and position themselves. It tells you so much about how they think about themselves. Tire and grooming does too, but that's another telltale sign of what they're thinking on the inside. So how they posture and position themselves. Posture, I talk about using what's called the speaker stance. Speaker stance is also known as the ready position for those of you who know anything about martial arts. This is the ready position. Just saw a video of Bruce Lee. When he's in his ready position, this is exactly how he's standing. Not with his hands in his pocket, not in the fig leaf position. He ain't covering anything. Not with his hands behind his back, not with his arms crossed. Just like this. It's comfortable, it's easy. Then you can step forward, then you can gesture, you can do anything and everything that you need to do, again, to show what you want to do to connect with your audience of 1, 5, 15, or 500. Posture and position. Now, I've been maintaining, I think, a comfortable position with my friend Lloyd right here. But if, as an example, I was to get up this close to Lloyd and stay here for any length of time, do you think he would feel comfortable with this position and our relative distance between one another?
No.
He's shaking his head and giving the definite nod. No, no, 1,000 times no. So you have to think in terms of what's right for your audience. Now, I'm trying my best, even though it's a little difficult, to think in terms of that audience as well as this audience. Bottom line again, I'm conscious of where my audience is and how I position myself so that everybody can see me, everybody can hear me, and everybody's able to connect with me visually. Attire and grooming, posture and position. What do you think is the third one? It says right there, gestures. Gestures, exactly. Because we read everything that that body is doing, again, before they open their mouth. So the gestures are, again, a major sign for how you're going to communicate your message, mentally, emotionally, physiologically, etc. All that you do with your body, most especially from the waist up, is, again, a telltale sign for what you're trying to communicate, again, consciously or subconsciously. The more you can consciously think about how you gesture and do it as if it's practiced and it's at ease, the better. Have you ever seen someone who's like this? Or, here's my favorite, gentlemen.
Good old boy.
There you go, Randy. The good old boy. You know, and if they're just a half of a good old boy, it's just one hand in the pocket. Women don't do that, guys. Even, Virginia, do you have pockets on your pants today?
In the back.
In the back. Jenna, do you have pockets? No, you don't have it. Ladies, anybody else? You have pockets? Do you ever stick your hands in your pockets?
Yeah.
Once this dress is unusual. When I bought it, I was like, wow, pockets. But no, as a general habit, no.
No, as a general habit, you don't.
Normally they're so tight.
That spray painted on.
It's not like guys where they're like jiggling all around in the
All right,
pants.
key jiggle.
Yeah.
Change jiggle.
The change jiggle. So guys, keep your hands out of your pockets. Plain and simple. Sew them shut. Bobby pin them shut. Keep your hands out of your pockets. Your hands don't need to go in your pockets. They can't gesture well if they're in your pockets. Use your hands again. This is the correct position to start from, not stay, start from. And from there you can do all kinds of things. And if you're telling a story, and you're telling a story about a guy who's a good old boy, then sticking your hands in your pockets for a moment, that's okay. But bottom line, hands don't go in the pockets. The gestures are, again, primarily from this point up and out. And think in terms of busting through the old-fashioned phone booth. We tend to, especially if we're in conversations with one or two, gesture in a small way. But gesturing in a big way makes you feel stronger, more bold, and makes you look stronger and more bold. So, bigger gestures in some cases are the right way to go. Let's continue. Those are the first three in the visual. What do you think that fourth one is? Again, we're shrinking it down, smaller and smaller and smaller. What's a smaller part of you, again, that has not said a word, but it will? Facial expression. Exactly. What you do with your face as the place is so important. Dave, what do you think is the international symbol for your face in connecting with others?
Smile.
Thank you very much. I kind of let him into that one. But bottom line, you can go to Taiwan, you can go to London, you can go to Hong Kong, you can go to Johannesburg, anywhere you go in the world, and you can bring that Texas smile, that friendly face with you, and you'll connect with other people. You'll connect with people because people will relate to your smile. So that's the warmest, friendliest, wonderful way that you can connect with your audience. Put on a great smile, and as much as possible, keep it there until you're telling a sad story. Bottom line, the face is the place. Let that face light up and glow with all of the expression that is naturally and normally there, and the audience will relate better to you. Last of the 5. The eye contact, which I've changed now, and I talk about eye connection. Because I can make a quick contact, a 1/2 second or a 1 second contact and bounce from eyes to eyes to eyes, but I don't want to do that. I want to make what I call a true connection. I want to speak to that set of eyes for a good 5, 6, 7 seconds before I find the next set of eyes, and I speak to that set of eyes for 5, 6, 7 seconds, and I go phrase or sentence by phrase or sentence, and I want to make sure I'm connecting, which is different than just contacting.
Years ago, in speaking in front of large audiences, it recommended you do not do that.
I know. And I say baloney.
Okay.
Because today, Randy, you know what I want to make? I want to make a deep connection.
Right. No,
You know why they would typically tell you that? Because they're afraid that in looking at someone's eyes, if those eyes are disagreeable, and they will show that in some ways, that it will cause you to wilt mentally.
Good point.
I say, light them up.
Yeah.
If they don't want to look at you, they will go down like this or up to the ceiling or off to the side. And I tell you, point blank, connect with the friendly eyes, and I see a lot of friendly eyes in here. And that's the way to go. Connect with the friendly eyes. If they don't want to connect, they won't connect. They'll look away. That's okay. That's their privilege. But you want to try to connect. So the eyes are the connection place. As the philosopher said, they're the windows of the soul. Make that connection as strong as possible. So we've covered 5 aspects of the visual. Have we talked about anything yet?
No.
It's connection all from a visual side. Now we need to move to the vocal. How am I doing time-wise? Okay. Not so good, but we'll make it work. The vocal, we talk about VIPP, 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 and actually I've changed the I to an E to make it more accurate because I want to really be accurate and precise in how I explain things, but we'll still use the I today. The VIPP stands for the volume, inflection, pacing, and pitch. The I is going to change to emphasis because really that's what it's all about. Volume, inflection, or emphasis, pacing, and pitch. Pacing is about speed, how quickly or how slowly you speak. Volume, does that kind of speak for itself? Sure it does. It's all about the volume, how loud or how soft you are. And you don't want to be at a high volume, nor do you want to be at a fast pace all the time. You want to vary your volume. You want to vary your pace so that you're not, again, feeling like a steam locomotive rolling over people with a lot of volume and a lot of speed. Vary your volume, vary your pace. Inflection or emphasis is all about putting the emphasis on the right word or even a syllable in a word to make that syllable or word or phrase stand out. You can change the meaning of one phrase multiple ways just by the emphasis that you put on one word. We don't have time to do it, but if you're in my one-day workshop, you'll see exactly what we're talking about. Volume, inflection, or emphasis, pacing, and pitch. Pitch is all about how you sound from an intonation or resonance perspective. Deeper vocal pitch, as in James Earl Jones, Morgan Freeman. Those are the voices that are tending to be more believable and more often heard in the commercials on television and on radio. It's all about the deeper resonance, tending again to be more believable, credible, and listenable, if that's a word.
Tend to also have a lower pace as well.
You're absolutely right, Randy. You're right. And in many cases, that's good because people then can lean in and really hear what you're saying. I am your father. All right, so there it is again. Volume, inflection, pacing, and pitch. Inflection could be emphasis. So we keep moving. The final two in the 3 V's is about the verbal. Now again, I did not say it is unimportant. I said it's of lesser importance. Will I make some flubs as I'm delivering this presentation verbally? Well, I already have along the way. Not on purpose, but because I'm speaking very rapidly and I want to make sure that I get covered what I'm trying to get covered. So what I'm trying to do right now is to cover a lot of ground. Now the two aspects of the verbal that are very important that you want to make sure you remember is cut out the you know, so kinda like, so yeah, the fluff and the filler. Virginia, it's like having a big old piece of salad stuck in your teeth and people go, my God, what's wrong with that woman's mouth? So we want to clean it up. Clean up our language and get rid of the fluff and the filler. I have one new client and he sent me a video of himself. God bless him. He's an eager student. In the first 5 minutes of this video, I counted 28 so's. And I kind of warned him a little bit.
I just saw a commercial where the guy did that, and I couldn't believe this was a high-end commercial.
Yeah.
I had kind of warned him, Randy. I said, I think you've got a fluff filler issue. And he said, really? I said, well, we'll see. So there it was, in the first 5 minutes, 28 so's that I counted. I sent it back to him. I said, you need to look at this. Just the first 5 minutes. So he did, and he said, yep, you're right. I hate it, but you're right. Now, the kudos to him, because the next time I heard him speak, he had already done a massive job of improvement. He had dramatically started to limit and recognize that he needed to clean that up, and he was doing a good job. You won't improve until you've got self-awareness. Say, uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's right. You know, every time I step in front of the bathroom mirror, I'm more self-aware. This is growing and not the way I'd really like it to look. So I am on a diet, looking to lose 12. Working hard at it too, Lloyd, promise. Bottom line, we want to eliminate the fluff and the filler. The second aspect of the verbal we want to use, silence, the pause. Silence is golden. And our audience oftentimes has a hard time keeping up with us, especially speaking in bursts of 150 words or more a minute. What we need to do is pause. It gives them a chance to mentally start catching up, digesting a little bit, thinking about what you just said. That's a good thing. So we work to put in especially strategic pauses along the way. Important. There it is. That's the 11. 5 visual, 4 vocal, 2 verbal. Boom, in a nutshell. Now, again, we go into greater depth, much greater depth in our full-day workshop, and in even doing the hour and 30-minute workshop that I do with the Dallas Business Journal. That gives you a quick overview. I think the other thing that you really wanted to cover was about the aspects of inspiration and influence. So let's go to that section in your handout. I have a keen desire to continue to develop this. So I'm continually doing research. Matter of fact, just had a conversation with another client because he recognized it. He said to me, George, you know what I'm really seeing is I want to inspire people. And I said, holy cow, that's a great aspiration. I said, why? He said, well, I'm recognizing people are covered up with information. And I can deliver information out the wazoo, but it doesn't typically do a lot to help people. I said, sort of like the Ebbinghaus effect. Within 2 days, 50 to 70% of it's gone. Within a month, 90+% of what you've delivered is gone, deeply recorded, but not easily able to be accessed. He said, that's exactly the case. He said, but inspiration, people are starving for that. I said, oh, well put, my friend, well put. They are truly starving for inspiration. I think, as a matter of fact, how many of you see the black comedian guy who does the kids that are wonderful, and now the old people that are wonderful.
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, thank you. Steve Harvey has tapped into that. He's putting people, be they little kids or older kids, in front of a massive audience, and it's bringing inspiration because he's helping people recognize age really is just a number in many respects, and you can continue to do incredible things well into your 60s, 70s, 80s, or even 90s. He had a guy over 100 in a singing group with all the rest of the group there. I think the youngest of the member was like 75, but the oldest was 100 plus.
You just had a guy who played the guitar.
Ooh. Boom, unbelievable. So very, very inspirational. We're starving for inspiration. We're covered up in information. We need to think in terms of how can I inspire this person to listen, to consider, to take action on what I have to offer them. Let's continue. 4 proven methods to inspire and influence your listeners. Start with learning to inspire and influence yourself. Duh. But a good place to start. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. To become, number one, aware. What is it that you love and thrive on for inspiration? If you have that desire, is there a possibility that others around you will enjoy that, appreciate that? Absolutely, absolutely will. So, how? 5 basic, inspiring, invigorating activities. Number 1 is music. Any of you listen to music on the radio, on your stereo, on your iPhone? Yeah. A lot of us listen to music at various points during the day or during the weekend. Number 2 is humor. We don't have enough of it typically in our life. So someone who can add a little bit to that, we tend to thrive on that. It's a wonderful part. I call it like the dessert of life is when you've got somebody who's really good in delivering humor. Sleep or rest is number 3, and we recognize in more and more research.
Sleep or rest?
Sleep or rest.
Oh.
Sleep or rest. Rest or sleep, but specifically sleep. We recognize we're a sleep-deprived country. Thank you. 75% of us. I am loving taking naps, which I never did in my younger days. But I don't sleep as well as I did when I was younger. And so I tell you what, when I feel the sleepy time comes on, many times 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I just go lay down. 20 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes. I'm better. Good to go. Continue. Nature, a body of water or a forest. Nature is a phenomenal way to bring inspiration into your life. A great Japanese study just came out not long ago showing and sharing that we, again, because of our urbanization, we're leaving behind the beauty, the wonder, the rest and peace that nature provides. I'm living out on the edge of country, Forney. I mean, so I can look out my backyard and see, fields and lots of, not the kind of nature exactly I want, but at least it's not somebody else's backyard I'm looking onto. And that's a wonderful thing, and I love it. And I'm looking forward to you moving further out within the next 3 to 5 years. What was the next one? Inspirational reading or audio listening. There's so much great stuff out there. I mean, and a lot of it is free today on YouTube or on TED Talks. And there's another source, I can't even think of it, but it's primarily built around audio tapes and audio programs. If you want it, it's out there, and you really
Earl Nightingale stuff.
It's all over the place now. So you just got to do a little Googling, a little searching. You can find phenomenal stuff that can just plug you in and zippity-doo-dah you for the day, the week, the month. Tap into it. It'll make a difference in your life, I promise. All right. Number 3, number 2, study and learn from those who inspire and influence you. And again, they're all over the place, and that's different people, different folks for different strokes for different folks. Somebody who might really inspire me may not inspire you at all, and vice versa. So you just have to recognize who that person is or who those people are and tap into them. And finally, the SCLARS acronym and stories. We're really down to the wire in our time. I want to make sure that I'm gracious in that arena, plus I got to do a card drawing. But the SCLARS acronym comes from the great author Robert Cialdini, a professor at, I think, Arizona or Arizona State. He built a phenomenal book called The Power of Influence, and the SCLARS acronym is SCLARS. It stands for Social Proof, Commitment and Consistency, Likability, Authority, Reciprocity, and Scarcity. And if you want the insight on that, I can send you some articles. Just drop me a line in the mail, and and I'll be happy to plug you into more insight on that. All right.
And one card missing. I don't know who though.
Okay.
There's only 10 cards and there's 11 people. So.
All right, good enough. So whose card didn't get put in? Well, maybe somebody didn't want to put in the card. That's okay. Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to put them behind my back, and Dave, you just pick out a card very quickly.
Pick you? Yeah.
Yeah, you got one?
Yep.
Okay.
Be Dave. All right.
And then pick out another one. Good deal. All right, the first card goes to our 3 months of free attendance at the Speakers Academy, and that is Lloyd Bly. Bada bing, bada boom. Lloyd, good man, 3 months. And I'll shoot you some information about that. The second card is Jane Hanson. You get the full day workshop, Jane. Congratulations. Woohoo! That's a goodie. I honestly believe that's $800 plus worth of value and something good for you. So I want to hold on to those. By the way, if you gave me your card, expect to hear from me. Remember, I told you early on this is a sales presentation, and I'm all about selling, but I serve first before I try to sell.
You didn't give your card, did you?
All of my contact information is right there at the bottom of the page. So I'm going to wrap things up and turn it back over because I know I'm probably a little over time. Thank you very, very much for your kind attention. It's been joyful to be back with you a second time. Who knows, if the creek doesn't rise, maybe Dave will invite me back in the beginning of next year, and some of you will have gone on to massive success and won't need to be here because it's like you're too busy with a great growing company. Dave, back to you. Oh yeah. And if you would, help me out by giving me feedback. Feedback is the breakfast for champions. If you'll fill this out before you leave it on the table. I'll collect this. It's a little half sheet. Virginia, I'll give you one when I get back over there. Bottom line, fill this out. It'll help me tremendously. I appreciate that. Thank you, Lord. Good deal.
Thanks, George. Let's give him another hand. Appreciate it. And as you know, my belief in if you really want to network, you're here at a networking group, if you really want to take your networking to the next level, you need to work on your messaging, your speaking. It's not just a sales pitch, it's actually delivering value. And so George has done that, and that's why we do the BGN talk, is to help, number one, you get the value, but also it's an opportunity. If you have a message, if you have something inside you that you want to share and help other people with, this floor, this is open to you. You just have to reach out to me. So I'm always looking for speakers. Thank you again, George, for sharing, and you did an awesome job again. And I actually know I got this one recorded, and I think it's streamed as well. So we've done it double. The funny thing is, as long as we had both things going, we haven't had a single problem with streaming. As soon as I started recording, then I guess Facebook got on notice and decided they better do it right.
2 licks in the water better than one.
Yeah, that's what we do. So we got double every time. So anyway, appreciate everybody being here. Any questions? Did you collect the dollars, right? Okay, got them. Okay. Okay.